Hello YouTube. My son-in-law and I went shooting the other day, and well, frankly he just wasn't doing very well. And I asked him what the problem was, because I know he's not a bad shot, and he said he was having a bad time seeing his sights. He was shooting a Colt 1911 with plain iron sights, stock sights, similar to the ones on this pistol. And I can see what he's saying, because when you put this against the black silhouette, it's really easy to lose those sights. And a couple things you could do about it would be to go ahead and get some good 3-dot sights. And these are excellent. They make acquiring a sight picture and sight alignment extremely easy and very quick. Unfortunately, they can be a little bit pricey though, especially if you get the fluorescent kind. And if you're not a gunsmith and don't do gunsmithing, you'd have to pay to get them installed also. So they do get expensive, but if you can afford them, they're well worth the investment. And then some guns, that's not an option at all. Like on this Ruger LCP, because the sights are actually milled into the slide. And in this case, these sights are almost non-existent anyway. And I can definitely see how you'd have some problem with shooting with this gun if you were shooting at a black silhouette target, or even a black bullseye target. So I asked him, well, why don't you paint your sights? And he was like, well, paint your sights. And I was like, absolutely. It makes a big difference. Over your stock iron sights. You can see how dramatic that sight is compared to the stock iron sight that's not painted. And he thought that was a great idea. But he had a lot of questions about it. How much do you paint? What kind of paint do you use? And since I was going to go ahead and do this LCP tonight anyway, I figured I'd go ahead and do a video on it and maybe answer some questions that other people have that he had. Now, the first thing I'll tell you is that all you need is some of this. It's just auto touch-up paint. You get that at any auto store or Walmart, Kmart, whatever you have handy with the auto department. And some painter's tape. Now, I recommend painter's tape over masking tape because it does the job just fine, and it's less sticky, and you'll have less goo to get off of your gun after you get done. And for how much you have to paint, well, it really depends on the gun. When you have a flat iron sight, it's sort of perpendicular to the slide, it's fairly easy because you just go ahead and paint that surface. On the other hand, if you have a ramped sight, you just need to paint that ramped angle right there until you get to the top. Same with the LCP. It has a little slope to it, and you want to paint just to the top of it and not go over the top. The reason for that is because if you go over the top and you're holding this gun and you're seeing red at the top of your rear sight, you could be looking actually over the top of the front sight, and you'll be shooting high. In the event that you have a rounded sight, you just want to paint to the very top of the arch. That's all you need to paint. You go over the arch. Not likely with these sights that you could be able to see over that arch anyway, but you'd have red all the way across. There's really just no need for that. I think aesthetically this looks better to paint to the top. And you need to make sure that you have your gun completely free of any oil before you start doing this. So you had gun oil on it and you've had them cleaned recently, you need to get some gun degreaser and make sure you get it all off. The paint's not going to stick properly. Alright, let's go ahead. Just need a good piece of painter's tape here. Just that ramp, so I want exactly the top of the ramp side taped off. You need to make sure that's straight. Good. Protect the sides. Need another little piece of tape. We're going to tape straight across the very bottom of that ramp. Make sure you get that straight too. In the overall scheme of things, it probably wouldn't matter if it's a little bit crooked, but aesthetically it looks better. Not sloppy. Make it look like somebody knew what they were doing. Off the sides. All we have is that one little square left untaped. Looks good. Now the rear side of this is pretty well self-contained because it's down in this little groove, and I can just paint down in there, so I'm not going to need to tape that. But if you were going to do a flatter side, you could just tape around the rear sight notch and just leave about 1 millimeter exposed. That's all you need. You don't need to paint the whole thing or make it too thick. 1 millimeter is plenty to offset that sight. Alright. I think we're ready to go. I'm going to do red on the front. White on the back, and excess off of there, and this takes so it doesn't matter if you get it on tape, because when you peel it off it's going to be exactly the way you want it anyway. And I'm going to recommend that you take the tape off while it's still wet. If you let it dry, the paint will end up sticking to that tape, and you could just end up peeling that paint right back off. Did end end up getting a little bit on the side there. Take that right off. Alright. That's done. It's a real quick fix. I've already shaken these up, by the way. Make sure you follow directions on your paint on how to apply it. Okay, sorry. Got interrupted there for a minute. Cat needed to go outside. He didn't mind interrupting me, as cats are wont to do. Let's get back to this. Don't get a lot of paint on here. Since this isn't taped, I'm just going to have to barely touch it. Bit of excess right there in the notch itself. Cause a Q-tip will get that right out. Spot there. Okay, that'll do it. Check out the difference now. You can actually see the sights on LCP, and that's a big help. Alright, hope that gives you some ideas, and thanks for watching.